You're in Nashville? Where are you based?
North Carolina.
What's the like there for you in terms of like house pricing?
It's expensive.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, everything went way up everywhere.
The states, the real hot spots are obviously Los Angeles, New York. Los Angeles is even worse now since the fires. I don't know if you heard about the fires.
Yeah.
But
New York, you
have
can't
you heard
own anything.
have you heard about this? This is fucking crazy. So all these houses burned down. So you have like thousands and thousands of homeless people
Yeah.
that are rich.
Yeah, legitimately millionaires but don't have houses.
So now rent. People that own houses are just gouging people.
Yes.
Matt was telling me the other day, rent in Malibu now, like the stuff that used to be $3-4 grand a month is now 12, 15, 20 grand a month. Because
Just 'cause
the
they
owner,
can.
Dude,
Yeah.
people fucking suck.
because the owners are like, oh, here's an opportunity to make money. I'm gonna just
Capitalize.
fucking gouge these people.
Yeah.
Mental.
Yeah.
So I've got a few friends. They're actually, I think, neighbours with you, like Cody and Maddie. My
We live in the
homies.
same neighborhood.
Cool.
Yeah.
It feels like all my friends are in Nashville. Are you? Is it tempting
What's that?
to move to Nashville? Are you happy
Yes,
where you
I
are?
am in
Oh, you
like
are.
a couple of months. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a studio
I
in the
was in-
city, but I live out in the same suburb as Maddie lives on the other side of town. But me and Cody live about 10 houses apart.
Oh, whoa.
I was in a child custody thing, so it kind of kept me for a while.
Yeah, okay.
So, once I got all squared away, I can move.
Why Nashville? What's so appealing about it?
It's
Well,
not
I-
even that appealing.
It's I'm gonna shoot.
I don't want to go.
I'm gonna shoot you
it's-
really straight about
for the
Nashville.
industry.
It used to be really
Yeah,
appealing. I write country music as a day job, so I have to be there.
Yeah, okay.
But if you want to be a writer producer in America, you're honestly in Nashville or Los Angeles. And LA is kind of a shit show right now.
So
Yeah.
what really happened was before COVID, labels used to, I mean, there's people at studios in Georgia, Atlanta, like
New York
Nashville,
City.
New York,
Yeah.
LA, Boston, DC. Like there's music studios all over the place and different producers all over the place, different writers all over the place. And a lot of the young bands, we came from there when you write your own music, you know, a lot of the younger bands don't, or they collaborate or they need a co-writer, or not necessarily need, but it's, I get it, as you grow into the scene, it's smarter to have more.
To be
eyes
honest,
on a
I don't like
project.
to write alone. I like to collaborate. Our
Yeah.
band doesn't collaborate much, but I enjoy it. But
Yeah.
it became
But-
more in vogue as this music became more
Popular, mainstream.
mainstream,
But
more
what-
commercial.
But what
Yeah.
happened was, so record labels used to send, you know, their younger artists different
Is
places.
this
You could have a
podcast style or are we
studio-
fucking you up right now?
Dude, we love.
We're doing it right now.
There's no
Okay.
direction on this. We can
Good.
just ramble for
Good.
however long suits you guys.
You could have,
It's my preferred style of interview.
yeah,
100%,
You
yeah.
could have like, you could have a studio anywhere and get work. And nowadays, because record labels have less and less money,
Yeah.
less. So if you're a record label and you've got a young 18-year-old kid who seems he's popping, you think he's got potential, what would you do with your money? Would you send him to Nashville where there's 1,000 writers? He can be in a different room every single day, and you're one of those people. If you're a writer, maybe you're one of those people. And you could cut a song with this kid. He's going to go to 10 or 15 different people, and they're going to find the sound or find the
And
song.
you can do that in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
or-
opposed to spend 6 months trying to find
Or
something.
it's supposed to, like, we're going to fly you to Atlanta and work with this guy for 2 or 3 days, and then we're going to fly you to New York and
Yeah.
work with this guy. So now that so everyone's kind of started, then it was like the Zoom thing happened during COVID, then everyone kind of started to centralize.
It was happening before COVID, but really
After was when it
really during and after
bam.
COVID, Nashville became such a hub because I don't know how it was down here. We haven't been here since COVID, by the way.
Man, in 2019.
So
Yeah.
I'm taking it personally, but it's fine.
during COVID in America, LA basically shut down. I mean, shut down. So Texas, Florida, Tennessee, no state taxes at all.
Yeah.
Like I don't pay state taxes. And the restrictions were, these are extremely red or Republican states.
Yeah.
So the restrictions were, so a lot of people from California, as blue as they are, or as non,
The income tax too.
Yeah.
No
right.
income tax in Tennessee makes
Correct.
people move.
So they
Yeah,
moved
makes it
because of the
from
restrictions.
a business standpoint.
and because nothing closed. We
Yeah.
wrote songs, and I moved to Nashville. I was spending half the year in Nashville for the past 5 years. I moved to Nashville full time in 2022, and the housing market was. It's getting better now, but it's still like the median home price in Davidson County, which is sort of the area where Nashville is $1.2 million right now. That's for like a shithole.
Yeah. It's the same as Sydney.
So you feel that. But like he's saying,
The income tax thing.
the labels became so, the budgets have gone down. As you know, records don't sell. People don't purchase. I mean, we sell vinyl, but we're kind of a legacy act. Do you know what I mean? So
We'll
like,
get to that.
Whatever. But like people buy vinyl,
Yeah.
but they don't buy albums. Like Define the Great Line came out and sold almost 1 million records.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So at that time, you know, the record label at that time gave us literally, we spent $250,000 making Define the Great Line. I'll never forget it. Like 240 some odd thousand US dollars making that album.
It works. Good work. Worth the money.
It worked.
Yeah.
That is gone now.
Yeah.
Unless you're maybe Beyonce or something. And even then, I don't even really know the particulars on how.
The big pop stars spending money.
Taylor Swift. She can afford to spend money on an album.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So you centralize everyone. Your artist development is basically gone in America now.
Yeah, right.
So like an A&R person being like, let's send you to Boston, let's send you to Atlanta, let's send you to this writer, let's send you to this producer. Now it's like blow up on TikTok.
Yeah.
And if the songs aren't there, we'll send you to Nashville or LA for 2 weeks. We'll get you 18 songs. I see these people
With
through my
18
studio all the
different
time.
people with 18 different
Yeah.
like collaborative ideas. And
How does
like,
that work with publishing rights and like the
all people are getting publishing. If you're on the song, you're getting pub. I mean, me and him both.
It
have
also
pub on other people's songs.
it also
Yeah,
depends. To be honest, my bread and butter is songwriting, so I do it. I write probably 150 to 200 songs a year for other people. And in Nashville, it's different. In LA, in Nashville, say the three of us got in a room right now. We had guitars. We wrote a song. You're an artist. You could sit there and say "fuck all, nothing,"
Yeah.
and I will give you an even 33 1/3%.
Just because of that.
In LA, they count words and depends on.
Some people do.
So
not me, yeah.
it just depends.
Interesting.
And like, so I was living in New York before COVID, and was doing meetings all this shit. This is like during Underoath's breakup and Underoath getting back together, and I was writing and being sent all over the place. I was doing this other project called Sleepwave. It actually came down here.
So.
And I was writing with all sorts of people, and then I was writing for other people, and I had this manager sending me out to LA doing all this stuff. I started doing that as I was watching. Every time I would come home and I like go to these meetings, these big buildings like this, and every time I went and met with a new label, if it was for myself or for someone else, it's just empty.
Yeah.
Lower. And so people were leaving New York because of the income tax. And I was living there, the band got back together. I stayed in New
And the
York.
property tax. If you own, you're like our manager talks about it all the time. Yeah.
I stayed in New York. I was living in Brooklyn for a good chunk of time, like 4 or 5 years. And eventually it caught on with the IRS, and they were like, we're going to income tax. So like living in New York as an American citizen doesn't make sense unless you're working in New York, because when we got our paper breakdown of like our band members make the same money, right? We tour, we make the same money. And I looked at the paper, it's like, if I stay here, I'm making this just because I live in New York, because I got to give New York City this much money because of the income tax. And I'm like, but I don't work, and it didn't matter. So people started flocking places like Nashville, when you were saying earlier, like, is it that great? Not necessarily, but that's where everything's happening. And it's not just country anymore. It's pop,
everything.
it's rock, it's metal.
It does seem that way.
Country is the bread and butter, but
And country's always going to be the backbone of.
Nashville is beautiful. It used to be. Now it's like Cody and I live about 25 miles south of town.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what that is in kilometers, but
50, 60,
60 kilometers. It's about 30 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes it can take 2 hours.
Yeah.
The traffic is just...
Yeah, it took me an hour and a half to get here this morning because I'm
Really?
Is your address considered Sydney?
No, so I'm considered outside. So we're on the Central Coast, so I'm up on the beaches. But yeah, it's depending on the traffic, it can be 50 minutes or it's 2.5 hours. So
Oh, you drove in today?
yeah. But
So Nashville is... But I'll be honest with you, for the first time in my career, the past 3 years I've made as much money as a writer and producer as I do on the road. For the first time in my career.
Yeah.
So there is light at the end of the tunnel in the sense where, it does pay off.
Yeah.
There are things about Nashville I don't like. The constant change, the constant move. I don't know ever how long something's going to last in terms of a situation with a studio or a situation with a publisher, because it just changes based on what's going on in the industry. And I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
Someone like Matty, his bread and butter is still touring.
Yeah.
And he got in early at real estate and made a fuckload of money in Nashville. My bread and butter is half and half now.
Yeah.
which is a strange place to be because in order for Underoath to support my complete lifestyle in Nashville, that wouldn't work. I would need to leave and move somewhere cheaper.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Has it gotten harder as you guys get older, being away from home? Because like the older I get, the more I'm like, I don't want to leave somewhere. I
Yeah.
love where I live. Is that
For us, it's not. If we're doing something, I'm good. But like, for instance, this tour is 4 shows.
yeah?
Now it's 5 because we have to do 2 Brizzy shows because the
Is that because venue size?
Yes.
Yeah,
we were
we're-
playing River Stage and now it's at somewhere else.
It's inside instead of outside, and they sold more tickets than the inside.
Which I don't think half the people will show up, personally. But anyway.
I reckon you'd be surprised. Brisbane's been the venue in the last like 2 or 3 years post-COVID that goes off.
We'll see. But anyway, like, I would rather just do the fucking shows in like 6 days.
Yeah, okay.
But we're here for 2 weeks. That type of lifestyle. 10 years ago, we would love this. We'd be drinking all night. But now, we're in our early 40s and every single one of us has children.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it makes it hard being away from that.
it'd be fun. Like, if I was 10 years ago, we'd be drunk all night.
Debaucherous is the word we're going for,
And
though.
we still have a good time, but like, not like that.
And I think depending on the situation, like no one wants to be away from their loved ones.
Yeah.
We enjoy playing shows and we enjoy working hard. Like our band's working harder now. Like in the last 6 months since writing this new record, we've been working harder now than we were when we were like in our early 20s, in our late teens. Like our band works and we
I think
enjoy
what
it.
happened is it's a business thing. I think the music business, we did a year basically this chasing safety thing. This is the last leg of it.
It
in
was
the-
supposed to be last year too.
And in
Yeah.
the,
We
and in-
weren't going to do it in 25 at all.
and in the States,
Someone needs to stop. Sean needs to shut the fuck
and
up.
in the States, financially, the Chasing Safety Tour is the most lucrative tour we've ever done. And it's the most tickets we've ever sold. More than 06 and 07. So I think what happened is I think the industry was like, oh, they're still really relevant. Or
Yeah.
whatever the verbiage you want to choose. So now we've got a lot of opportunities. And they have a new album out, about to come out, so we're doing the new opportunities. You know what I mean? We said no more than any band, I think. And I think it's given us longevity.
Yeah. You touched on there, like the relevance. I think there's so many reasons I'm seeing a lot of bands doing like the nostalgia tours
Sure.
because that's my generation. We now have disposable income. So when it came out, I couldn't go to every show that came out. I can afford to do it now. I can go to every show that comes out
You
and
have money.
support them.
It's also extremely lucrative. I think a lot of bands do it because it's extremely lucrative. For us, we thought, and I think it worked. We were like, we're going to use this as a springboard for our new music.
Yeah.
So we were releasing songs on the tour. We were playing songs on the tour. And I think that it's kind of like a little bit of force feeding in a
Yeah.
way. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's worked. So on that tour, we got an offer to go out with Papa Roach for 2.5 months or whatever it is. So now, and it's been great because we can't tour in the States now for like a year.
Yeah.
We did 67 shows. Do you know what I
So
mean?
many
So
shows,
now,
yeah.
but what we get to do now is we do this tour. We have 24 hours off and we go on the road in the States with Papa Roach. So, but I,
Supporting, like open, which we don't get that opportunity a lot to open for somebody else, which is great.
Yeah.
You get to play for new people, which is awesome.
And
we
Papa Roach is a band that's also had like a huge resurgence as
oh
well.
yeah,
we
they're
were
like
talking about this. Who were we talking about the other day? That's doing bigger than they've ever done.
Yeah.
Who? Not Papa Roach. Who?
Deftones.
That.
Oh,
too.
yeah, that makes
Deftones and
sense.
Papa Roach. And we have a song in America, we have our first song on the radio since 2018.
What track's that?
It's called All Love Is Gone.
That's a radio song.
Yeah, it's going.
Fuck
It's
yeah.
going hard.
Yeah.
They picked.
You
we
know
did.
what? We will talk new album because I'm pumped to talk new album.
They picked. We did.
But-
But
I get it.
weird choice.
Okay, so coming off an album that's 20 years old and then playing stuff that's you could have gone back and been like, let's go into that what we did, that sound, that's what's like training, that's what's working, whatever. But instead you guys have been like, let's just do whatever the fuck we want.
We've always done that.
You have, but it would have been it would have been chasing safety to go into something that you already knew. But I think it's fucking cool that you guys come back with this album, which I've had for a little while, so we can talk about
Oh,
Informal,
nice.
and brought out something that has like the entire lifespan of Underoath into an album as well as the future brought
Think
into
so?
it. 100%. I don't know if you've seen, so Johnny and I, we run this channel together. We do reviews and reactions, whatever.
Yeah.
And when we first checked out Teeth, I was like, holy fuck, this is so different. It's unique. I've never heard anything like this from the band. And then every single, you guys brought a new energy, a new element. And I wondered when I had the full album whether that was going to be sort of the filler songs left over. But my favorite songs aren't the singles. They're the ones that are in between. And you don't get that much anymore. I'm genuinely feel like this.
I wonder if it's that way because the sort of strategy now, in America at least, I don't know about down here, is to release
as many
songs. And so I wonder if it feels like filler because I'll just confess to you, and I think that it's true for all five of us, we're kind of old school with albums where we care about him probably the most. He cares about the running order, the titles. I've kind of become a little desensitized, admittedly, because of my work as a producer and a writer.
Yeah.
And Spencer's very, you can talk about it yourself.
It always in this band, I've cared really about how the album feels, especially from a vinyl standpoint of how do you end side A? Knowing someone's going to flip it over. We have, like Hugh said earlier,
he still says side A. And I'm like, bro.
Yeah,
dude, vinyl's coming back so hard.
It's such our bread and butter, but I think he means it from a flow standpoint.
Yeah, sure. It's how I feel like an album is similar to a live show. And Underoath, we come from the era and we still believe, and it's in our ethos is we would be nothing without our live show. I don't understand anyone who likes Underoath that hasn't seen it live.
Sure.
Because the way we came up was live was it. Our records were really bad representations of what we were live because you couldn't afford to make records. This wasn't a mainstream thing. There was no cameras waiting to talk to us when we were kids.
Yeah.
Because it was unheard of and blasphemy to music because we're screaming and jumping off stuff and bleeding. We were rebellious against what popular music was. This is now popular. But to me, the way the album flows should feel like a live show. Don't stack all the good songs up front and the bad ones in the back. It needs to. I like a show, especially for a heavy band that starts off here and then you get weird in the middle and you bring them back up and then you end with something really dramatic and sad to where it makes you want to go back, the end of Define the Great Line. You go, fuck, I want to start, the end of this record. Fuck, I want to start back over.
Yeah.
And so it is important to me, and I think about it in a vinyl standpoint of when I'm in my house, cooking, listening to a record, and then it gets to the end of side A, do I want to flip it over and go into side B, or am I ready to move on?
Yeah.
And it's really important to me how it flows and feels.
We still consume, in my home at least, in yours for sure, I still consume music as a piece.
Full
piece. I even get irritated because I like pop music. And I what's that girl's name? British girl. The song slaps.
Sabrina?
No, Sabrina's from the States.
Charlie?
No. I'm too messy.
Chappelle?
And I'm too fucking clean.
Yep.
So let me get a job.
Lola something.
Lola Young. I literally, my dog, I have a 5-year-old daughter. That's just... That's her fucking jam. And the girls will listen to it. I live with all women, And the girls will listen to it. I'm like, what else does she have?
Yeah.
What else is there?
That's all I get.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I go find other song, and I went and found it. I'm like, this shit is just as good. Or
do you think that's the artist thing, or the way the streaming kind of the algorithm pushes? Just you get that one thing and then it's on to the next playlist.
This is a little insider info. The Sabrina record slaps. Not just Espresso and Please Please Please. That album, the first song of that album is the best one. It's called Taste.
Oh, I've listened to the thing. I'm a big pop fan as well. I genuinely like a lot of music.
That song is better than any of the singles, in my songwriter, storyteller opinion. Do you know what I mean? So, for me, I feel like we do consume music that way, so we intend to make it that way. And then, back to the original point, we intend for the consumer to listen to it that way, which is why you're going to say there's no bullshit songs. I like the singles aren't my favorite.
We also consciously, with this record, they're Underoath to the point in their career, we don't have to make music every 2 years or we're going to be forgotten. We've surpassed the, like, people call it nostalgia, but I call it a band that's a career. Like, we don't talk about
We also don't need.
Yeah.
We also don't need records and singles to. We don't need TikTok moments to keep going.
Yeah,
we don't
like,
need it.
So when we make a record, we make it because we want it. We want to make something new. We want to play new shit. We want to have a reason to do more stuff.
Yeah.
And there's no point to release a song that we don't think is it. Why not? So the record doesn't have any filler on it. But this time around, you were talking about the singles, especially with Teeth. Like, we did make a few conscious decisions, one of which I'm not sure I liked, but Teeth was our choice to go first because it was weird. We wanted to stir the pot and make people angry. And us being in the music video alone was another. That's a
I have a bit of a fuck. They're all like the posy boy thing of style. I was like, oh, that's conscious.
That's an Easter egg due to the fact that we know it pisses people off.
Yeah.
And we don't it's like, we don't care. We're going to do what we want to do. And that was more our band's idea to be like, y'all should just let them have it. Let them have a fucking heyday with it and just go online and talk shit. You know?
It's all talking.
And then, but when you listen to Teeth and the concept of the record, like, in order, you're like, oh my God, it's like the perfect placement for that. The only thing that I don't agree with that we did was we changed one of the singles from Loss. Our record label was like, Loss is the song, and after playing it live, we played the record live a couple times front to back. I see it in the crowd's face, but specifically our bass player was like, it's like the Underoath song.
I think that decision.
He wanted to do a weirder song.
I think he was right and we were right.
And wrong.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think he was right and wrong, where the Loss is sort of like a little bit of an Underoath buffet. I don't know if you've heard the song Loss.
Yeah.
But
I've listened to the album many times.
But Loss is like
the perfect, it wraps it all up.
What
I think
track? I've listened to it on the.
I don't
track
know.
3.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Because interestingly, I thought there is some like a real. Let's talk about flow, the album flow, and it has such an interesting flow because you can tell that there's so much.
Do you have a disco link?
Yeah, you're on my phone.
So I wonder if yours is in order.
Oh, you should be.
I'm out of order with the album because we did some album shows where we didn't play it out of.
We played the out of order live. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, you have a disco link, so
Yeah.
that's correct. Yeah.
So, like, was the one there, and then there was nothing. I was like, there's like all that remains like riff at the start of it. Like, you hear influence of these like other bands the scene, but then it kicks into like this Prodigy-esque. There's so many different moments pulled from like other sounds that you've somehow managed to make Underoath. It sounds like something that I've known from you guys forever, but still sound fresh.
I'll stop you there. And I'll be honest, we make whatever we want. And what Underoath is, in my opinion, and you might have varying opinions, but I think most of us would answer in some. What do you do with that?
I don't know.
I think, and if every member in some different facet would say, Underoath is, to use a $50 word, it's an amalgamation of the 5 of us.
Yeah.
We all like so much different music.
How does that go about the like getting the consensus of being like, well, here's the sound?
It takes a long time.
Yeah, that make it, and also does it mean you get like 50 songs and have to condense them down and make it more cohesive?
I think
50 songs or 50 at least starts ideas, sometimes more.
Yeah.
I think it's so there's the 4 writers in the band, and then the 5th guy's more of like an opinion, you know. But it's hard enough for us to all land on the same page, and that's what the special Underoath sound is because I can finish the song by myself. Eric can finish the song by himself. Tim can finish the song by himself. Chris can finish a song by himself, minus the vocal stuff. But we would all do it, every song on here, if it was just one of us writing it. Like some bands have the one guy writing it. It would sound completely different than where it is. And what we've learned as we've gotten older is like, you've got an idea and you're moving, and this guy's like, yeah, but the way that bridge is, I hate it, I don't like it, and goes this way. And we used to fight each other on it, but when you like get out of the way and let it happen, sometimes you're like, well, you know what? Like, I didn't see that, and I would have never done that.
Yeah.
But that makes the thing that I wrote before that even better. It's like us getting out of each other's way and listening to one another and trying things. When we all get a song done and push play, if we look around the room in the studio and not every dude is either doing this or walking back and forth, or some of us even fucking standing on furniture and headbanging, then the song's not done.
Yeah,
if you see one guy going,
That's really frustrating. It's frustrating too because sometimes like,
look at that bruise.
Ew. I'm a songwriter. So like, to me, I care more about like the story and the melody than anything else. And Spencer, I would say, is my counterpart to that. Where he's kind of the same way, but he's also a feeling person more than I am. Where he's like, bro, I just don't feel that. And I'll be like, but what it says, and he's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be really frustrating. But I think that when you look back on it, I look back on a time in Underoath I was really angry, and I quit right after. In 2009 when we put out Lost in the Time of Separation, which is probably my favorite Underoath record. Second favorite after the new one, you know? Like, it's like, I was so angry the whole time because I really didn't get my way.
Yeah.
Like, really didn't get my way.
And looking back at it, can you see that?
But I listen to it now and it's magic.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
I listen to that record now, I'm like, how the fuck did we write that?
I have that, but I have the same thing. Like, I listen to some of those songs and like some of the arrangements, and I'm like, and the truth of the matter is
we fought through it.
We just really care about what we make. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a sit down in one day and make a song, which is fine. I do it every day, and I really care. I do care. But with Underoath, like, that song that's made in one day will never make it on an album. It will never make it.
And sometimes I feel like in the past, especially, we're our own worst enemy in that where we care so much to where sometimes we like pull all the life out of it by overthinking, reworking.
You can squeeze all the juice out of the sponge.
I honestly, and I know people say this about their new music all the time, until this record. And there's two reasons why. I think we've grown up, we've learned to work with each other and listen to one another. But the second reason why is the producer. Danon is a younger kid. We've always made records. We made the last record ourselves. We produced it ourselves. The records before that, all the producers were older guys. And we're just doing our thing, and they're kind of standing on the outside being, well, that's kind of dumb. Maybe don't do that. Danon is a fan. He grew up as a fan. So as a younger kid, we've never worked with a younger kid, and his energy, his excitement being a fan, he's a great producer. He's fucking brilliant. But that energy coming in the room and being like, when it came to like one of us about to overthink, he'd be like, that's it, we're good, we're moving on.
Maddie talks about that with Cody.
Yeah.
Because Cody collabs with him a lot as a writer a lot. And they went and made a record, and I don't know much about Memphis Mayfire's discography, but I know they went and made a record, and it was really ill received. Semi-recently, in the past few years.
3 albums ago.
Something like that. But he said, he said something really similar. He was like, went over to Cody's house, and Cody was like, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I grew up as a fan, and it's similar. It's that energy when you have somebody who's younger, who's a great. And I found Danon through writing other styles of music in Nashville. We were collaborators for other people, and we had cuts on other people's albums that are pop records.
Yeah.
And shit. And I was like, and he's like, I'm the biggest Underoath fan ever. I'm like, shut up. And we.
Did he play it cool?
Very cool.
Right.
Yeah,
well done.
But then we made a song with him. Just him and I alone.
Yeah.
It's a song on here called Vultures.
Yeah.
We made a song, just Spencer and I alone, with him, and because I selfishly wanted Spencer in the room with him, and I knew Spencer was Spencer's always my safe way on getting collaboration happy with Underoath, because Spencer is a collaborator with other people as well.
Sure.
So I can always call Speed and go, let's try this, and if it sucks, we don't have
do it all the time. We do it all the time.
We don't have to talk about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we can get in a room alone and make a song that maybe is slaps but isn't for Underoath, and we don't ever have to tell anybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we did it. We did it, and I was like, he was like, oh.
What happened with this is funny, because we've written a lot of songs alone. There's songs on records we've written alone, and like we've worked with other people alone, and been like, it's too sacred and it's too uncomfortable for the other guys. Danon was the first guy, like he said, we've done this hundreds of times. A lot of songs that aren't for Underoath.
Yeah.
But we'll get in a room with someone, and it was the first time I've ever looked over at him and I'd go, I wish the guys were here.
Yeah.
Because this energy is so good. I was like, I wish, because everyone else, like, they don't work on other people's music. They don't work on other things. They're very sacred still about Underoath, and they're not very open.
They live in
the
non-music
idea.
city.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not open to the idea of working. More so now they are now, but at the time. And so a lot of times when you work with a writer, like they don't really want to work with the guitar player or the keyboard player. They're going to work with the singers and get the song right, and then you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
But when we worked with Danon, it was immediately I was like, oh my God, like Tim and Chris would fucking love this.
Yeah.
And that's how we got, and we eventually, we had to fight our way to get this trial period thing where we did it. And the minute we got there, we started working on the record. Because on day one,
they got it.
On day one,
Yeah, we
Tim and Chris
traveled
were
to like a house to start writing with this guy.
Tim and Chris, day one.
Tim and Chris, day one, were like, we're making a record this way.
They're like, we love this. We love this guy. And it was the best feeling ever. And he literally, to me, this is the first record in a long fucking time. I'm even saying like disambiguation, even things on Lost in the Sound were overthought and overcooked in maybe 5 versions before that song. Whether you would never know because you've heard it the way you've heard it, would have been better.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And this is the first record in a very long time. It was not overcooked and the magic wasn't sucked out of it by rewording, redoing this, redoing that, rethinking, rewriting, try this. We tried a lot of stuff and we worked really hard, but it was like we had this dude that just knew the ethos of the band, knew how to push us all, and we all were able to focus on.
Who meanwhile is younger
music.
and also understands the world now. So you have this great thing, this kid that grew up with it and knows the ethos, like you said, and knows the sound, but also he lives in LA and makes pop music.
You can hear the energy in every song. There is like,
Because we didn't
but
cook it. Because
having had you
dude,
say that, I was like, that makes so much sense sonically. Because
you know
hear.
how bad it sucks to get to the 5th version of a song and there's like 5 different lyrics have changed because one dude on the couch and then that riff changed 4 or 5, 6 different times and you go track it again and you just don't feel it anymore because you've done it so many times. The energy is there because we get excited about an idea. We'd execute the idea, we'd tweak the idea, and then we'd go, let's do a final of that.
Yeah.
And then we'd all listen and go, that's fucking
songs
sick.
and there are the songs that take a long time that really move the needle, but I think for the most part, in music completely, the songs that really move the needle emotionally, commercially, in every way, I was listening to, they used to be called Song Exploder. What's the name of the podcast now? Anyway, there's a podcast where this guy, he's an American guy, and he goes through like songs. It's called Song Exploder. Still called. He goes through songs with the producer or the artist or both, and they talk about how it was made and the sounds, and they isolate tracks. It's really cool. You should listen. It's really cool. But yesterday I was listening to a Sabrina Carpenter one on that. Please, please, that song, and she did it with Jack Antonoff.
Okay.
And the song was written and recorded, and the vocal they used that day. The vocal that you hear on the album was the one they did that day. And he was Jack was like, sometimes it doesn't work, but in this case, everybody was up walking around going,
that's what we're doing.
It's funny because I heard a clip, and we'll move on after this. We're just going a bit similar, like that Black and Yellow song with Khalifa. He did the hook immediately, and then the producer like cut something and moved it. It was like, I think that would be better. And they pushed play, and he was like, that's it. And that's what you hear today. He was like, that's it. Was it. It was like just one quick thing.
It happens in every genre now because I think people are really realizing the feeling, even with pop music, in pop country. Like I work with a guy named Nate Smith he just had an 8-week #1 in the States. And there's a song called Whiskey on You that was, multi-week #1. And he wrote it with a producer. They tracked it. They all went home. And then they came back 3 or 4 months later to finish the album and redid the vocal. And he was like, everyone was like, nah. So the vocal that you hear on the radio, that's the big hit vocal, was the one they did the day of with him holding a microphone. It's just, sometimes you gotta...
If it works, it works.
It's not even that. It's if you capture the feeling.
Yeah.
If you capture the thing, like I don't care if it's on an iPhone microphone.
On the last Sum 41 like double thing they did, Derek talked about Landmines, which is like the big pop punk song they did. He's like, the entire vocals on that is the first thing I recorded to send to the guys being like, what do you think of this? He's like, because the feeling of it happened on the spot, that's what we use.
Happens all the time.
Okay, so talk about the older stuff then. You've just come off the back of playing, and you're still playing Chasing Safety. If you had to go through and change things, how does kind of capture like that feeling now go when it's 20 years on, you played the songs a billion times?
It's all about the people now.
For me,
it's just
Chasing Safety is playing Chasing Safety is just about the fans.
Yeah.
If we're in a room, like I'll be real with you, we're a really bad rehearsal band. It's not something we do well, and it's not something we do often. Like, we won't rehearse in 2025 a single time. We won't.
You'll be touring the whole time anyway, so yeah.
But even, like, if we're in a room and we are meant to rehearse for a tour, and it's like the Chasing Safety thing, we play through the songs. If we're there for 5 days, we'll play through the songs twice.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll focus on the encore, what the different songs are, whatever. Because those songs don't have any life at this point in our career unless they're with people. Does that make sense? Because the lyrics and stuff are about things that we don't even...
Yeah, we
don't care about.
Yeah.
There's
not that we don't care about, but like when you're 21 and you're writing a song about your ex-girlfriend and now you're 41 and you have 2 children and a vasectomy, that's just not relevant.
But the vasectomy song coming out. Can't wait.
But to the person in the front row who's crying...
Yeah.
Because what they're doing is reliving a childhood romance or a high school love of whatever. Then you're like, oh, this slaps.
Yeah. When you're seeing stuff, you're seeing kids anywhere from like babies and infants, but like the kids that are actually wanting to go like anywhere from like 10 to fucking 50 years old. It's crazy because think about, I think our scene really focuses on that word nostalgia, which really makes me want to vomit in my mouth.
Sticks in your craw more than anybody's.
But like because with bands, when I grew up, my favorite band was Led Zeppelin. They were done before I was born.
Yeah.
But if they would have come through and played Led Zeppelin 1 or 2 or just
it would have been like nostalgia.
By the time it would have been nostalgia, I would have gone because I never saw them.
Yeah.
And by the time I was old enough to go, like I would have loved to have seen certain bands that I didn't get to see before they were done. But when they come through now, it's like I'm gonna go. I don't care if the song, when Radiohead plays fucking Fake Plastic Trees, I'm not like, oh, nostalgia. I'm like, thank God they played
just
that song too.
Song,
great song from 35 years ago, and also a great song now that they released on the last record. I want to hear the music from the bands that I love.
I think the other side of the coin to that is, I think if you're a legacy act, you have to produce the goods. I think a lot of, I'll be honest with you, a lot of legacy acts from my era make shit music now, and should just play the old shit.
The one that was really good. Yeah.
I believe that. Do I think that we are in a place where we're making music that is irrelevant and cloying? No, and I think most of the time, peers of ours that make music that I think isn't great is because they are trying to play to the nostalgia thing,
they're going back to the past, like what.
And and it's really difficult sometimes. You look at your Instagram, and people are like, "You fucking suck. I hate you. Why don't you make Define a Great Line Part 2?" And if we did, guess what?
They'd hate it.
They'd hate it, and it would be shitty because that moment is past.
And I talked to them about this shit a lot too. Is there wasn't a lot of social media when some of these records came out, but it's like some of these people. Like the internet trolls that hate, internet's a place for hate pretty much, not a lot of love. That's not really what people go there for. But when we released, the first song we released on Chasing Safety was Young and Aspiring. I was at Pure Noise or Pure Volume, one of those like streaming.
Sure.
And we had Facebook.
It was like all MP3s, Pure Volume.
And I will never forget, we were at Tim's friend's house when it came out. And people were fucking livid. They were like, this band should never exist. Like, please quit, go home. You guys are the worst. And the shows were popping.
Yeah.
And the shows kept popping, and the music kept out, and it kept growing. Then we went and released Define the Great Line. Fucking the comments of what, at that time, that was MySpace. People were fucking disgusted.
Yeah, but idiots are always the loudest.
And it's like... You can't forget that every time we ever release anything, people are mad. And the reason why I think...
Keep talking. I'm just going to change that because that song is fucking glaring. We're not going to be in frame. It's going to be a white light.
Really good. I think the thing that what Aaron said is some of our peers making things that are irrelevant, I think we are lucky that our new music still connection is relevant because Underoath has never done the same thing twice.
Yeah.
And whether there's an album 4 or 5 albums in that's not your thing, but then the next one was, or 2 records before were, or 3 records from now will be.
There's something there for
There's something there for
Yeah.
It's like, I think about bands like 9 Inch Nails or the Deftones. Like, I was a huge 9 Inch Nails fan. Always will be. Still listen to them. Still go to the shows. Anytime I can, I will be at a show. But there are some albums they'll put out like, that one wasn't really for me. But then sure enough, the next one is,
Yeah.
or maybe it's 2 albums, but I'm always going to go. And it never would, and I'm not like, that's bad. To me, it's like, oh, the more electronic one wasn't necessarily mine, but then they put out this rock one that I fucking love. Like, you see bands have these, people should just write music that they want to write. I think the bands that lose are the ones that are trying to capitalize on what was popular when they
I think anytime you're in a room writing songs,
popular.
This is my opinion. Anytime you're in a room writing songs and you go, oh, the fans will love this, like, or you're doing it for them,
Yeah.
You're wrong.
you're wrong.
Yep.
Do you think it's hard? Like, you guys have had longevity, which not all bands get, and one, that's down to consistently good music. But you've been afforded the option to release stuff that you know might not connect with people as much. So whereas there might be a band there that's like, we need this album to hit or we're done.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's the pressure. We're lucky that we've never cared about the pressure somehow. I think when we were young and there was pressure there, we were too young and involved in the touring world that where we didn't even realize the pressure was there.
Right.
You know, and I think
it was pre real popular internet stuff.
Yeah, sure.
yeah, like
Internet
we
wasn't
didn't even
the driver
know.
back then.
I think, and like we didn't care, and or listen to anybody.
Yeah.
So I think we were just lucky in that regard. Like,
So you said about the internet being like so native, because it is. It's such an interesting, and obviously like our channel is very positive for the most part.
That's great.
And our followers are very positive. Like the comment section is actually a really lovely place, which is super interesting and rare.
That's great though. Hopefully that catches on more. And
We're
more
trying to
in the
build that.
future.
Yeah, we're trying to build that and like look for the positives and everything rather than being like, it's not the old album, I hate it. I feel like that's a cool thing that we got now that when you guys first came out, you do the alternative press interview that's 10 minutes and they write that little blurb, whereas I feel like it's such a great time to be a music fan because you can actually get more
The
understanding.
long form content now is kind of the driver of the free world.
It's the best. We've had this talk a few times. Like, so our channel started because of COVID. We couldn't go see live bands anymore, so we started just like talking about the music videos that was out, and then it just sort of took off. And now we get to hang out with our artists. That
Is this
we
what you
love.
do full time?
It's one of my full-time jobs. Yeah.
Wow.
So I work in like content creation, it's like a full-time thing.
In
but,
what?
Like content. So I do fitness, fashion, and music. Very, very lucky to do all
That's
the
why
shit
you're
I
in
like
such
doing.
bad shape. Yeah.
Yeah, trying to get in
You
shape.
should have come to the gym with us this morning and kicked your ass. We were both in the gym before we got in the booth.
Yeah, I can always help with that.
Yeah.
But it's been such a cool thing to be able to like get a better understanding. As you said, I think it's allowing people like another entry point into the genre that didn't exist for a long time. And so we're seeing artists getting like albums now in this space, getting bigger popularity than ever in a genre that really like looked like it was declining. Hip hop and rap became so big for a while, and like, obviously country's such a big thing for you guys. It's not as big over here.
It's country's the biggest genre in America right now. For the
And
first
hip hop, yeah, country and hip hop.
country for the first time since the early '90s is on the Billboard. Like last year's Billboard #1 song was a country song,
That's crazy.
which hasn't happened in like 35 years.
I mean, we can't relate. We don't have the same thing here. It's kicking off here. But the heavy and alternative music festivals are the only ones that are like making money and still going.
It's the same thing in the States.
Yeah, you're seeing heavy music's in a really good place right now. That's really exciting.
Do you think it's because it's like there's substance behind it? I'm not
think
saying
it's-
that like pop music isn't.
I think it's a live music thing.
Okay.
I honestly think because you go see a rock band live and you see a bunch of people sweating and like screaming or singing their guts out, and I think that's what it is. I think people crave.
In the festival, like I would want to go to a festival just to see like a laptop and dancers and like a guy singing over a track.
Yeah.
Like festival people, I feel like want that. Rock
I mean,
and roll.
in the States, the pop music thing is still huge. Like Tate
It is.
McRae is like just dance. I saw a video of Tate McRae on SNL, and she's not singing; she's dancing, and people love it.
I don't even have heard of that artist.
She's
Okay.
huge in
Okay.
the States. Like 20, 30,000 tickets a night.
Okay.
Kid Leroy's her boyfriend. Like it's like that.
I know him because he's Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
But like
Yeah.
that is still a thing, and I think it will always be a thing. Lady Gaga just put an album out that's fucking massive.
Yeah.
Like I think that will always be a thing. But I think that
But she's got a live band now though too.
Yeah.
Tosh is smashing
our
drums.
friend played drums for her.
On
A
Saturday Night Live.
25-year-old kid on Saturday Night Live who's like a scene kid, punk rock drummer.
He's great. He's so fucking
good.
She's got like a punk energy to her though.
She's one of my favorites. Anyway, but
Yeah,
like
she does.
I think it's music. I don't know what it is like here, down here, but in the States it's cyclical.
Yeah.
And right now the rock music's on the upswing. Here's what happened with rock music, I think. And
Got too popular.
yes.
Got watered down.
Think about the 80s for a second. How old are you?
I'm tail end. I'm 36. I'm 88.
Okay, so we're 83. So I can remember being in elementary school and Guns N' Roses were the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And Guns N' Roses were a strange bridge between
Poison
Poison and Nirvana.
Yeah.
started to get edgy.
In the 80s, it was like how high you could sing and what you looked like.
And your makeup and
Yeah. And the hair.
Think about this for a second. That's how the scene music has kind of been. Everyone's singing as high as they possibly can, what they look like, very shiny, all track-based music. And we've been waiting around for a while to see who our Nirvana's going to be.
Yeah.
And now the stuff that's popular in the States, at least, that's selling more tickets in the scene than like the high-singing, beautiful people thing is like Knocked Loose, who is grotesquely
And
heavy.
Turnstile.
And Turnstile, who's a punk band.
And now the Deftones again. Deftones didn't put out a new record. The record's still the same one from 2021.
Rock music
they were in
became
big venues.
extremely formulaic
Now they're in arenas.
and all about computers. Here's what happened. Bring Me the Horizon became the biggest scene band in the world, and everyone became, why did it sound like that? And then
everyone kind of started to sound more like Breaking Benjamin and Shinedown. Not that those bands are bad, but there's already a Breaking Benjamin, there's already a Shinedown. And when every band was screaming and like violent shows turned into tracks and big choruses because everyone was trying to get a hit, it just got watered down. I mean, it just sounded like a wet towel.
Okay, here's a question, and it may be a hard one to answer without sounding egotistical, but why does no one sound like Underoath? Because you guys have influenced so many bands. I haven't said this, played it cool. Underoath is the reason I got into heavy music. I was like a pop punk dude growing up, and To Find the Great Line converted me into heavy music. So, like, why do you think no one's managed to go, that's Underoath?
Because there are 4 cooks in the kitchen. The line that we agree on is as thin as my fingernail. And
You defined it.
well, like I was telling, like I
You
said
a dad?
earlier,
I will be in 4 months.
that's a dad joke what you just did.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I'm just getting ready for it. I'm
I-
glad you got it. Thank you.
like I told, like we were talking about earlier, it's like any one of us could finish a song by ourselves.
Yeah.
Out of the 4 guys that write. And the fact that we don't
Also, bro,
makes
I
it
don't
special.
care what other bands sound like when we're making music.
And we
You're
don't
not trying to
listen.
sound
We
like someone
also
else.
don't listen to a lot of heavy music. The heavy music that we like is very few and far between. We've been around it our whole lives.
Sure.
So all we do when we make music is like, I love playing heavy music with him. I rarely listen to it, but when I do, what do I want to hear?
You
And
make
that's all we
music you wanna
create.
have. Yeah, okay.
That's really as simple and stupid as that sounds. It's what
Yeah.
it is. We go, what is it that I want to hear?
Pretty cut and
What
dried.
gets me excited? What makes my hair stand on end? You know, what makes you what turns you on? And then you make that. And,
Yeah.
and then when you don't hear it, it's not done yet. But I think a lot of it is not, we don't care what the trends are. Like, I always support my friends and my peers, whether I like their music or not. I'm here for it. If you're doing well, good for you. I'm excited for you. If you're doing bad, I hope you do better. But like, I'm not listening to be like, what do we need to do? What's popular
Yeah,
right
what are
now?
they doing the way not?
So
Sure.
because we barely like heavy music nowadays. So it's finding what we like out of it and putting that out there.
What's what are you most excited for people to hear off the new album? Because if you're saying you're trying to create the music you want to hear, what are you most excited to have other people hear?
I just want people to rip the whole thing. Give it a
I'm
work.
sort of give it a college try.
Give it a
as
once through.
piece.
Yes. I agree. It really is. Like I said, I've played it. It helps having that formula because you have to play it through kind of as is, and there's no distractions of other things because I'm listening to it in just that format.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really cool thing because it plays front to back. As you said, you have like a kind of sadder, somber moment at the end. You want to start again. You come back with new energy. I'm really excited to see the feedback on this because we see all the negative comments on other people. I'm very aware of what you see on the internet because that's part of our job. But everything seems to be so positive about the last few singles we've released.
That's great.
And I really, like, not blowing smoke, I genuinely was just like, oh, this is potentially the best thing you've ever done. I genuinely like.
We've gotten that a lot from a lot of the press that have gotten the record early. Like, and I felt very special. I feel like we captured lightning in a bottle when we listened to Define the Great Line back. Not because it was big. This is before anyone heard it. I knew something was there.
Yeah.
And I love all of our music.
Know.
I love all of our music, but I had that feeling again when we listened to this. I was like, something's in there. Whether people like it more or not, I don't care.
Yeah.
But there is something special about this record. There's a lot of real, raw energy in it. A lot of shit was happening in our lives. It's real, and you can feel it. And I think, like I said, I stand by every record we've done. It's where we were at that particular time. But you're not always in the right place to make the best version of you. And I think we just were this time.
Sure.
And we were one defined.
Well, fun is the gift.
I think we were just at that right place to make the right version of ourselves.
I like that. How did Troy come about in this one? Because that's, I feel like, an interesting choice.
So that's the song we wrote alone. And then we ended up kind of tweaking it in the studio, and Tim got his hands on it. And but like when we tracked that part, we called that part the Mastodon part.
Actually,
Like I sing the bridge and everything on the demo, and I'm like, that's the Mastodon part. And I kind of was. Troy's a good buddy.
Okay.
He's been my friend since 2008. Kind of like a big brother vibe to me. He's always been sweet. Always looked out for me. Funny enough, we made a bunch of records in Atlanta, and it would always happen to be off when we were making those records. He was always around, hanging out with me, to go out to dinner with me, having beers or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and it's one of those guys that you have that friend that you might hear from once a month, and then you'll go 6 months, and you're not like, fuck that, why haven't you? And then you pick back up. It could be a year, it could be 6 months, it could be a week, but you're always just pick right back up. No weird feelings. Life's busy. My life's busy.
Yeah.
I get it. Nothing but love always. We were calling that Mastodon part, still Troy singing. And I called him. We caught up about life. We talked for like an hour and a half before even mentioning music. And I was like, well, I'm leaving the studio right now. I was actually getting on an airplane. I was like, hey, we have the song. You came up. We'd love for you to do it. But make sure your band's cool with it, because I know with that, we don't want you to be associated with something that you guys don't like. Send a song. He fucking loved it.
Sick.
He's just sent it back. And I hope and pray that over the next year or 2 or 3 that we play a festival the same day he gets to come out and
See
rip
that
it with
Brent
us.
left the band?
I did see. That's weird.
Is that weird?
So
So,
a lot of people-
We've just did an interview with them like 6
Brent?
weeks ago with Troy and Brent together, and we're like, we haven't been able to release it yet just for the timing and stuff. I was like, can we release it now? Like,
I
there's
just
no
saw it
point
laying in
it.
bed last night.
I saw it the day before. And I've heard a lot, like, people were saying they saw that coming.
Really?
You know what? We didn't. But like energy in the interview, they were both just like, it was fun, they were good. I didn't get like a...
Brent's the guy in the band that I don't know.
Sure.
I think there was interviews, don't quote me on this, but I heard there was interviews where he was saying, like, he's just not there anymore with it. Like, he's not in it like the way the other guys really are. Like, they want to keep doing it. And he's just like, I'm not really there. Like, I'm not. But I could be wrong. I haven't really read into it. I haven't talked to Troy about it. We typically just talk about
it
life.
doesn't seem like anything negative. Like, I mean, they love your press
I know
release
Brent's
thing,
like an artist, and like he might just, I mean, those guys are 45, 50, so maybe he's just like,
I feel like he was also the oldest as well.
No, they're 10 years. Troy's 10 years older than me.
so yeah, there in their 50s.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope that I can still do this in my 50s, but
they're one of those bands that, like, I can't believe that they just continue to grow, and they are crushing it.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to bring a motherfucker out. I think it's going to be like, oh, fuck.
someone you know.
It's either the best person you've never heard, or it's someone like the dude from Baroness, or someone that's just a motherfucker that you're just like,
That's cool.
that just made the band epic. And I don't think Brent is replaceable. He's got such a unique voice, but I think they're going to do something.
Yeah, whenever you bring
level
someone
up.
in who's like a big vocal piece, like someone leaves who's like a big vocal piece, that's weird.
But there's 3 lead singers in the band.
That's exactly.
So,
it's not as though it's the one singer gone.
I think he was a bigger part in their earlier stuff vocally than as it got later on. I think the other guys did equal, if not more.
Yeah.
Like Troy and Braun singing a lot more as time went on.
Sure.
I think the earlier
Braun's
shit,
not because he's a drummer, obviously, but Braun's my favorite voice in the band. So
I love Troy's voice. I love Troy. And maybe
It
that's
has.
just 'cause
I mean, it adds. Like, that's why I was like, it's an interesting pick. One, because you've got 3 vocals in that band. That's why I was wondering how he came to be on the album as opposed to.
I love Troy. I love the Sanders brothers. That Him and his brother Darren, I love those dudes, and I love Troy's voice. I love Mastodon. It's one of those heavy bands I'm like, I totally fuck with.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm going to leave it here because I don't want to make this be 4 hours long and you guys
haven't eaten.
I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I would sit here for 4 hours if I eaten something. We woke up gym straight here. I had a coffee.
Fitness, getting it done. I like that.
Getting old.
We did one with I don't know if you know the Polaris, like a metalcore band from Sydney. They're doing really cool things off their last album.
Something tragic happened to that.
Yeah, Ryan, their guitarist, passed a few years ago. And it was like straight after, just before releasing their last album.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was a really hard time. And so off the back of that, Johnny and I became buds with them, and we did like an interview album launch.
They're big here. They're from here.
Yeah, they're from Sydney. Here. And so we actually did it at one of their parents' house, and we just sat at like a coffee table for like a 3.5 hour interview. Just like sat and just like talked.
I've heard the name. I don't know if they're popping.
We had a tour manager
I've heard the
in
name,
England. What? Late last year, that was their tour manager.
Oh, really?
That's who Alec is their TM.
They're lovely. They're young bands.
I'll have
really
to check
cool
them
dudes.
out.
Yeah.
I've seen the name everywhere, and I remember thinking.
Are they big down here as well? Is it more broad?
Where you guys are playing tomorrow night, they sold out as like the headliner. They do, yeah.
I don't know where we're playing, but
Horton.
I don't know what that is.
Is
it inside or outside?
Inside. It's like 5,000 cap.
Okay.
I've never seen you guys play there before.
I don't think we have.
I don't think you have. It's like you play like Roundhouse and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like more than double the size of that. It's a big space. So
yeah, Alexis is quite big down here.
Yeah, they are. I'm fucking pumped to have you guys back. As I said,
it's good to be here.
Genuine fan.
Thank you.
Got me into heavy music, and you continue to just elevate. So your album is, as I said,
that's the goal, man.
Done, so.
You know, like we don't want to go make music that we don't believe in. You know, even stuff that our fans might piss off some of our fans. It's like, you gotta understand that we believe in it, and there's a reason for it. It's where we are at that time, you know?
You gotta think about it, like, you're in really good shape, obviously, and like, as you get older, you want to continue that.
Trying to get better.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, every day is another day you can wake up better yourself, be a better version of you.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Like, there won't be a point in your life, like I can tell by the way you look, where you're like, when I'm 60, I'm gonna be fat and look like shit. You're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The goal's not to do that.
The goal is
redefine dad bod.
That's the thing.
That's the goal.
I mean, look at like, there's a lot that's happening in the States a lot right now. Whether you love him or hate him, look at Joe Rogan. He's 57 years old. He looks incredible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He talks about that. He's like, I don't want to go backwards. I want to go forwards. So I think musically, that's the goal.
We're also in the golden era. There's so much information. Like, you have no excuse in any way. Like, musically, there's so much to find. Everything's at your fingertips. So you can't just like getting stuck in one lane there. There's not really an excuse for it. Fitness, you can learn. There's so much the internet to learn from. Like, you can continuously better yourself. It's not.
And there's so many facets to it. If you look at fitness, like I work out every day, but I don't look like you because I hate dieting. If I did both, I'd look like you. You know what I mean? So I think music is kind of the same thing where you got to be great live, but you also have to put your heart and soul into what you make too.
Yeah.
You know, I look at it like playing live is your workout, and what you make is your diet. Diet's way more important.
Yeah.
You know?
How are you guys? I was going to wrap it. How are you finding staying? Like, I'm impressed you both got to the gym this morning. Is that hard to do on the road?
No, I mean, we've been doing that. I mean, 5-6 days a week.
I have horrible anxiety, so it's something I have to do.
And I was a drug addict, so I have to as well.
Yeah, we both have like mental reasons why.
Yeah.
Like, I don't go to the gym to look good. I go to the gym.
You just do that naturally.
It's either that or I'm going to drink myself into oblivion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's gym or hospital for me.
You chose the better option.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Gym's a way better option.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
Changed my life.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, if I could get the food straight, I'd be...
Being hungover and strung out on drugs all the time is not what you want to be.
No.
It's way better to feel good. Like, sleep. Like, once I got off drugs and I realized, like, dude, sleep fucking rules.
Yeah.
I love bed. Like, I the only thing about the touring is it's hard for me to get out of bed because I don't have to, and I'm like, all right, I gotta go to the gym.
I don't sleep well on tour. I don't stay asleep.
That makes so much sense that you got all those like fucking endorphins, the adrenaline pumping
It's
on
the
stage,
time zones.
coming off and then trying to then calm down. Is that so hard?
That's why so many
Hot
artists
shower.
are drugs. That's what...
Yeah,
that's
drugs
why-
and alcohol is where that starts. And I think really drugs and alcohol start when your life is like as busy as ours is, and you're younger, and you get home. You don't have a job. You don't need a job.
Yeah.
We don't have jobs. You know, this is what we do for a living. We've been doing this since we were in our teens for our living. And like you get home and you're like, what do I do? Everyone's at work. You're bored. Like you're filling gaps in between the next touring or recording event. you start getting high, getting fucked up, getting drunk, whatever it is you do, that's where a lot of the problems come from. But yeah.
Did it help finding like songwriting for other people to fill that time?
Yes.
And be more productive with it?
Being productive and time office.
Like, for how many days a week are you in the gym?
5 to 6.
Yeah, so it's become part of your life.
Yeah, it's absolutely like my lifestyle. Yeah.
And you watch what you eat, like, extremely close. I can tell by looking at you.
No.
No, you're just lucky.
Moderation.
No, I just know what to eat. Like it's part of my job. So I like.
And also, y'all's food is way cleaner than ours.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about all the.
Yeah,
additives.
you guys can eat bread here. Like, we can't eat bread in America.
Yeah.
Like, not unless you make it yourself or you go to a local
Like,
bakery.
you can go have a smashed avocado in the morning with sourdough, and it won't make you fat. In the States, you can't.
Pasta in Italy won't make you fat. You can eat pasta every day in Italy.
Dude, I did 5 weeks last year on my honeymoon, and I came back jacked. Just
Yeah.
like fuel and everything.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like we have so many pesticides. But like the point I was trying to make, though, is like
You went to Italy on your honeymoon?
5 weeks.
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing?
We're talking about. I'm getting married in September.
Oh,
we
awesome.
keep talking about where are we going to go on our honeymoon. I saw some shit on Instagram. This is not important, but I saw some shit on Instagram like these places in Italy that I've never seen. We've been.
No offense, I've never had a good time in Italy on tour because you go to the.
But
Yeah,
I
but
saw
you don't
these
get the best of
places-
Italy. Yeah, I get that.
Where did
I
you
was
go?
like, maybe we'll go
Yeah.
to Italy.
Where did you go?
Okay, so we flew into Milan, and we did the plan to go like top to bottom, left to right. So we went Milan, Como.
The north was the best, right?
No, we had the best time in Amalfi, which is like down south.
Yeah. See, we're not going there on tour.
Yeah.
That's exactly. There's no venue
seen-
for you.
We're going to
seen
Bologna, Rome,
Yeah.
Florence.
We did see some cool, like we saw like the Coliseum and all the like the
Yeah.
shit, the cool shit. At one
Yeah, but
point,
you know what you know what my beef is with Italy? I love you, Italy, if you have any Italian listeners. Is you go to the Coliseum and next door there's like a fucking internet cafe and a Subway. I'm like, fuck off.
You know what I don't. You know what's weird about Italy though is that the shows used to be rad, and then we haven't been back in a long time because the shows started to not do well.
I've heard that Italy. I was talking with you guys in Barry tomorrow about it because they were playing a show there. I was like, oh, what's it like? And they're like, it kind of sucks for us now. It's
Dude,
not
what
we
good.
it
need a
used to be
show.
great.
Oh,
The last show we were there was us and the Fever, and there was like
200 people.
yeah, it was and the time before we were there was like 1,800, 2,000 people.
Yeah, wow.
Something happened in their market. I don't know.
Yeah, we
what
did
it was.
like an all-day show. It's like a miniature festival in Bologna, Central. That's where all the big shows used to be. So Central Italy. It was us, the Fever, Starset,
Some other bands too.
some other bands. It was like it started at like 3 p.m. We
No one was
headlined.
there.
Yeah.
It was legitimately. I remember there was like 250 people.
Smallest
paid.
show we had played in like 18 years or something.
Wow.
It was weird.
With
So
that
we haven't-
lineup, too.
We
It
haven't
was
gone back.
wild.
We haven't gone back. And I don't know.
I gotta pee, guys.
I might.
Let's wrap it up.
Anyways,
I'll show my itinerary because
Yeah,
I
dude, hit me on
10
Instagram.
recommend it.
We might
it was
be
the best.
going there on our
It's,
honeymoon.
we did.
If you go, you should go to like